My fellow compatriots, welcome to Break It Down, a platform where we get to unravel some of the most complex social, economic, and political issues, making it easy for people to understand. I'm your host, Itumeleng Mpofu, and on this platform, we take the complex, we turn it into a conversation. Today I'm back. I'm with my brother, Ontiretse Phethlu. A lot is happening in the country. We are going to be quite brief and quick because we notice that whenever we put out the long episodes, people are not watching as long as they are. So we'll try to make it a little bit brief, but we'll make sure that we get you to speed in all the things that are happening in the country. So the few things that we noticed is that there's massive confusion around the country in terms of what actually is happening, because there are so many processes that seem to be unfolding simultaneously. Now, one of the processes is that you have the Madlanga Commission, where we've seen in Ntlanhla, but at the same time, you have the ad hoc committee in Parliament, where we've also seen Ntlanhla again, repeating the very same things. You have police raids. You also have the SIU raids. Those are different raids. So those are some of the confusion. We have another situation in Hare University, where the university is burning down. So we'll also touch into that. So the country itself, people are divided in terms of the views. The media itself, people are divided in terms of the views, which I like to urge people that rather watch the commissions on your own so that you can make a discernment of who do you believe and who do you not believe, because so much has been flying around. But today I'm with my brother, Ontiretse Phethlu. Before we actually get into the merits of our conversation, I want to give like a quick summary on the Madlanga Commission.
No problem.
So as we know, the commission is investigating serious allegations of corruption, political interference, and the infiltration by criminal syndicates into the South Africa's security and justice institutions. Now, that's the Madlanga Commission that was established because of Ntlanhla when he came out and did a press briefing. In
July, yeah.
Yes. And then there's been few witnesses that have come so far to the commission. The first one being himself, Ntlanhla, the KZN Police Commissioner. We also had Fanima Simula, the National Commissioner of Police. We had Elaine Harrison, the Director of Public Prosecution in KZN. We had Petronella Van Rooyen, the Head of Governance, Legislation and Policy in the SAPS. We also had Dumisani Khumalo, the Head of Crime Intelligence, who fell ill after his testimony. In his testimony, he provided WhatsApp messages. We're not sure yet the authenticity of the messages, but since then he's been sick and the commission had to take a 2-week-long break because he's still not able to come back, which I do think that there's a sense of a foul play. We can't rule out foul play when we see these kind of things happen in public. Someone is supposed to come in and then they are not able to do so. So let me take it to my brother, Ontiretse Phethlu, who's with me today. Let's have a reflection on the Madlanga Commission itself.
Yeah, so yes, the commission took a break because one of the witnesses fell sick. And then in the interim, there was an application by 2 media houses, because currently the contentious issue is about, transparency.
Yeah.
Whether or not the remaining witnesses should appear on camera, because we are getting into the meat of the issue, whereby now people who work in the intelligence services need to go there and testify.
Yeah.
But even through Mkhwanazi, there's a general feeling that some of the evidence that will be discussed and explored is quite classified and sensitive information. So there was a view that perhaps those should not be broadcast. It should happen in private, not in the public. And so News 24, and if I'm not mistaken, Daily Maverick appealed against that to say no, but as the public, we have the right to information.
Yeah.
So the retired judge, Justice Madlanga, said they need to submit an application. And I'm not sure what was his final decision. But personally for me, I'm in support for those witnesses to do it in private, because these involve the workings of the intelligence. So you don't want to compromise the sovereignty of our country by revealing information that shows how the intelligence operates. Actually, it will compromise our safety as a nation.
No, now that you say that, I think you're hitting on quite strong points.
Yeah.
Before we came to sit for the shooting, I thought it's outrageous to try to take it public, to try to take it private, because this is a commission.
Sure.
It's public. It's meant for the public to know what is actually happening in the country, because for the longest of time, we've always heard about the underworld. We've always heard about people who are controlling the state and all of that, but we never really got to the crux of it. And for me, it felt that the commission is now about to actually get deeper into detail with that. But when you speak about the sovereignty, the safety of people that are operatives that actually work, I think it's starting to make sense. I mean, I'm thinking even with the Zondo Commission, there was a similar situation where you had someone who would testify like off camera because of that. You are hitting on quite strong points. But one of the revelations that has come from the commission that I find very disturbing is when they start to show the WhatsApp messages that actually belong to Vusikat Madlanga, that speaks to the essence of corruption, bribery, communication with senior officials within the police. I think right now everyone is trying to avoid the term capture because of the dirtiness that the term has received from the Zondo Commission. But in actual fact, this seems like it's a capture of some sort
of the police,
the police itself. I don't know what you think.
No, I completely concur with you. I agree because in this instance, the capture is about being in cahoots with the officials and influencing their decision making. Because at the end of the day, for the political killing task team, PTT, to be closed down, that decision was influenced outside because of the fear that the truth will come out and that some of the officials are implicated.
Yeah.
So in a way, you are correct. In fact, you are correct by giving the description to say it's capture of the police. But coming back to the issue of, conducting the commission privately, to some degree, I understand why other people would be against that, because they feel like that would give room for people to hide the truth from the public. But we need to look at the bigger picture. You understand? Yes, we do have the right to knowledge, to information. And yes, we deserve to know the truth. But at the same time, we need to look at, but where is this information coming from? How will that information compromise the safety of the people who work for the intelligence services? For example, in America, the people who work for those institutions, they are unknown.
Yeah.
Like, the person can never go into public and declare that they work for the Secret Service.
Yes.
Like, Secret Service America is another world altogether. So it is on that basis that I'm in support of the commission being private.
I think also what I find very concerning is the allegations that were also put forward by Itumeleng Mpofu, that within crime intelligence, you then find that things are being used covertly to benefit certain individuals. One of the key things is that for any government department that requires to lease a building or anything, they have to go through Public Works.
Yeah.
And then Public Works does the procurement of that building, gives them the building, they utilize the building, and then the rent is paid. But now, when it comes to crime intelligence, it doesn't follow that protocol. It follows a totally different protocol where it even has a covert budget.
Yeah.
That I understand because in every country,
Yes.
that's how it operates. It operates in such a way that if you want to purchase things that will even allow you to be able to protect the country itself, that's where the budget comes from. You read the book about the rogue unit, it also speaks about those covert budgets that exist. But now, the revelation is that there's so much debt within crime intelligence itself, such that some of the buildings that are even listed, we need to actually go back and actually look as to who actually owns these buildings. Because you could find that the very same buildings are owned by your Vusiket Matlalas,
that is
your
what
Brian Horses of this world.
That is what the General Lieutenant Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi emphasized at the ad hoc commission. I'm not sure if he said the same thing at the Madlanga, but I was watching the ad hoc.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't watch much of the Madlanga commission, but I was watching the ad hoc committee. Yeah. And he was talking about, you might find that some of the people who own these buildings are the politicians. Some of them might be in this room, and he was referring to some of the MPs in that ad hoc. So in a way, there's also the question of impartiality, right?
Yes.
Right? Because you must remember, we need to iron out the conflict of interest.
100%.
Why would you sit in a ad hoc committee discussing something that indirectly implicates you? Like you own a building that was used through the slush fund. So there are those matters as well.
So if you look at it for someone who actually doesn't fully understand how these processes work, what we're discussing is what's coming from the Madlanga Commission, which is a judicial process that was started by the president himself. Now, from that, you then have the ad hoc committee of parliament. Now, with the ad hoc committee of parliament, the parliament established the ad hoc committee. It has the powers to do so. So remember, it's the legislature. They have the powers to be able to institute a process of investigation. They're even able to subpoena witnesses to come into the ad hoc committee and actually to testify, which is, I think, one of the most important things that Julius Malema said was that we are not a secondary structure or a substructure of the Madlanga Commission. Madlanga Commission is the Madlanga Commission on its own. Once it has been concluded, a report will be drafted and then it will be sent to the president. Even though I do feel that Senzo Mchunu has implicated the president in him saying that the closing of the political task team, he had actually spoken to the president. That means the president will be required to come in and actually confirm, did they speak to him and what was his grounds for saying it must be closed? But that's the Madlanga Commission. Ad hoc committee is for parliament. The people that do the interrogation are now the members of parliament, which is quite interesting because you find that there are people who have conflict of interest where they are members of parliament, but at the same time, they are being accused by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. I don't know what, before that, let me say, the key witnesses to the ad hoc committee, now we're talking the ad hoc committee, is Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi himself, who was the first witness and has been cross-examined by the members of parliament. And for the first time, I actually saw members of parliament being quiet and actually listening to him. They spend hours debating some of the most frivolous of things. But for the first time, this time around, they were actually listening to him. You have Fanima Semola, who is to follow. I'm not sure if he's gone yet, but I know he's to follow. Shadrach Sibia, I saw he started his testimony today. A bombshell. Some have summarized it to 6-7 points that came from Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, where he's spoken about the crime intelligence situation and saying that there should be a reboot of the crime intelligence because of how rotten the structure is. He also spoke about the surveillance, active surveillance that is currently taking place of members of parliament, which is why you wonder why a politician, at one point, this is the stance that they have. Next thing, something happens, they come back, they have a different stance. You wonder what happened. This is now speaking to capture of the politicians themselves.
Sure.
We've seen these things in movies for the longest of time. Whichever movie that you watch about spies, the intelligence networks, but now it feels like it's right in our face. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, that was quite interesting, the ad hoc committee, because even when it began, there were technical errors that they had to ventilate before the ad hoc commission actually started doing its work.
Yeah.
I think the confusion there was about the letter that Kwanazi submitted before he took oath, right? Because he also had to take oath.
Yes.
So before you take oath, you submit the statement. But the statement was addressing the Madlanga.
Yes.
And rightly so, Julius Malema corrected that to say, no, but it's unprocedural to want to take an oath using a statement that addresses a different, process. So they had to first fix that.
Yeah.
And as soon as that was ironed out, and to the General Mkhwanazi's defense, it was his legal team that made that error.
Yeah.
It was not on him. So the guy was like, I felt sorry for him while they kept, back and forth debating this matter. But fortunately, they managed to resolve and the commission began. And as soon as he took a podium,
yes,
then they were listening to him and he had a lot to say. Like, I think one of the fascinating things there, if I'm not mistaken, it was when he spoke about Nathi Mthethwa. You say he got introduced to the Guptas by Nathi Mthethwa. He said he didn't know the Guptas until Nathi Mthethwa introduced him to the fellows. And also the problem he had with Nathi Mthethwa, he said that it's because Nathi Mthethwa kept interrupting some of his decisions. So this was at the time when he was the acting national commissioner.
Yes.
At some point he was the acting national commissioner. And then when those things were happening, he decided that he wants to resign. And then when he resigned, he was at home not doing anything. So the ad hoc committee has been fascinating. Fanny Masemula has appeared as well.
Yes.
He has, I think currently the person who's there is Sibia.
Yes, I saw Sibia.
And the same Sibia is the one where, if I'm not mistaken, last week Friday, the police arrived at his place to do a seizure. They took some of his things.
Yes.
He's also under investigation. And it seems to me that there's a fallout between him and Mkhwanazi. And apparently that fallout began during the AKA murder case, the investigation of that case. So there's quite a number of fascinating things. Excuse me. And I like that the two are happening concurrently.
Yes.
The Madlanga and the ad hoc. Because another thing, through the ad hoc committee, even Malema raised this matter to say, but if there are members of parliament who've been found wanting, there is a ethics committee.
Yes.
Whereby if you lodge a formal complaint, those members of parliament can be held accountable through the ethics committee. So there's quite fascinating revelations coming through here.
Yeah, I think another one is Shadrack Sibia himself feeling a sense of betrayal by Fanny Masemula.
That his colleagues.
That his colleagues actually came to do a raid. But here's the thing. When I say the country is divided in my intro, and when I say the media is divided, I want us to cast a bit of skepticism. By skepticism, I'm saying not solely trust, even though Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has proven many at times that he can be trusted, right? I want us to look at a different view where Shadrack Sibia says that these confiscations and raids are actually meant to come and take what he perceives to be his evidence to defend himself. He argues that when all of that has been taken, he's in a position where he feels that he's ill-prepared to even be able to defend himself. So essentially, he's now making it seem as if actually the rotten apple here is your Masimulas and your Kumalo and your Mkwanazi, as if there's a colluding of some sort to kick out a cabal that exists within SAPS so that a particular cabal could be the one that wins. What do you think about that? Do you think we should be leaning towards one cabal, or we should stay neutral and discern as time goes to see what is it that has been put on the table, what actually is happening, who's saying what?
Personally, I think we must look at the merits of the issues. Let us not apply semantics.
Yeah.
Right? Let us not apply semantics. Let us actually look at the merits.
Yeah.
And look at them with objectivity. Right? We must be objective. Because in all honesty, what Sibiya seems to be doing is to make himself a victim.
Yes.
And you need to question yourself. But if you claim that you are innocent, why would you be portraying this victimhood?
Yes.
If you have nothing to cover up, I'm not saying he has done anything wrong. I'm just questioning this victimhood that he has now adopted. Why that approach? Like, is he trying to seek public sympathy? And to what end is it gonna work for him? Because at the end of the day, we need to deal with the issues that are being dealt with here.
And I think it is expected that he would come and try to defend himself. And in a defense, he would try to pull almost anything in him. He wouldn't sit there and say, yes, what Nhlanhla Mkhwana says I did.
About
yes,
me
I
is
did.
true. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the raids, let's get into the raids. You have these police raids that are happening. So many things are happening in the country.
Sure.
Like, there's so many things that are happening. You have Shadrack Sibiya being raided. You have Senzo Mchunu. I saw an article about him being raided, but also the chief of staff of Senzo Mchunu being raided. You have the SIU raiding Hangwani Maumela, the nephew of President Cyril Ramaphosa, to which Cyril denies that it's his nephew. But of course, people have shown the family tree and network of how, in fact, they're actually in the same area. There's even a video of them together, and then he says, no, it was just a coincidence. He was on a walk, and then he just met the citizens. Now, with the SIU raid, you then have the seizure of the luxury vehicles. You have, the SIU has obtained a special tribunal order to preserve approximately 900 million worth of assets linked to alleged irregular payouts by the Tembisa Hospital. So far, around 133 million have been preserved, including taking everything, including even the smallest of the toy cars that's approximated to be worth around 6,000 to 7,000. They took every single thing. Now, there's someone I had who's saying that the significance of these seizures is that they actually make it impossible or difficult for the perpetrators or the people that are being accused to actually then be able to defend themselves. Because what they often do is that they take the very same state resources that they've squandered, that they have, they use that to frustrate the very same state that they've stolen from. If you have assets worth over 900 million rands and you are being taken to court, you can drag that case to be a 20-year case that goes in and out. And we've seen that happens in South Africa. So I want to hear your opinion. You even mentioned earlier in our background conversation a book that you read that sort of like started the whole process of like seizing assets. Can you take us into that?
Okay, look, I must first commend the great work that the SIU is doing. And another commendable thing about SIU is that, unlike the NPA, they are more transparent of the work that they do.
100%.
So their communication department is very effective because they keep on informing the public about the work that they do in bullet form. Right? They break everything down. So on that score, like, I give them a 10 out of 10. Those people are doing a great job and we need to salute them. Secondly, it's a good thing that they have done these raids and then they've tried to get back some of that money. I understand that the money that was stolen allegedly, is roughly plus minus 100 million. Already they've managed to get 133. Still, there is a lot left, but at least they've gotten something back. So that's a good thing. The book that you're referring to is a book by some lady called Marion Spark. I think she was a MK operative, Mkondo Wesizwe.
Okay.
Mkondo Wesizwe, not the
MK party.
MKP. And she was a comrade to Advocate Bulelani Ngcuka.
Yes.
Now, to those of you who do not know who Advocate Bulelani Ngcuka was the first NDPP National Director of Public Prosecution. So he was the person who was the boss of the NPA, the first one we had in the country. And through his work, they had scorpions.
Yes.
Today, a similar structure like scorpions is the hawks.
Yes.
So,
actually, why is the hawks, all these things happening?
You see,
I even forgot the hawks exist.
When we kept talking up, I'm
thinking SIU. I forgot about the hawks completely.
And this should be the work that is done by the hawks, because the people who are involved here are police, right? So not only the hawks, the IPT even.
Yeah.
Remember, the IPT deals with police who do misconduct. So those two have been found wanting. I don't know why is it that we haven't heard anything from them about these serious allegations against the police force. So, but I guess as time goes by, we'll hear more about that. So in the book, where Bulelani Ngcuka then explains how they had to do the seizure at the then former deputy president's office and house, Umsholos, because remember in 2005? Yeah, 2005. At the time, Jacob Zuma was the deputy president. He was deputizing President Mbeki. And at the time, there was that case about the arms deal.
Yes, with
Sheikh. So the first time, me personally, I don't know about other people. So the first time I got to hear about the seizure, it was during that time.
Okay.
And I got to understand the extent to which that work is done through that book. The name of the book is called The Sting in the Tail. So basically describing
the scorpion.
Oh,
flip.
Yeah. Was the scorpion, it uses the tail to sting.
I know the book, but I didn't think that's now it makes sense. Yeah.
So another interesting in the book, he explains how they got to give that the name Scorpions to that team.
What has Scorpion become now? Hawks. What have the Hawks done?
Nothing. So the funny story is that they were in a meeting, like sitting informally among themselves, his colleagues who advocate Bulelani Ngcuka. And then one of the guys started singing the song Diamoyiku no Madukutwane.
Okay.
So to those of you who do not know, it's because no Madukutwane is a scorpion. So right there and there, that's when they were like, okay, we're going to name this unit the Scorpions. But if you remember, the Scorpions then got closed because there was allegations that they were only attacking politicians, and specifically ANC politicians. But as we know, that was not entirely true. There were other sort of gangs that they were attacking. If you remember, there's a story about the Pachat here in Cape Town. Yeah.
No, if you tell a 2K about Scorpion and all that, they know they know the seizures through SARS.
Sure,
they know your mom keys. The cars have been taken and all of that. That's the kind of seizure they know. But as we go towards closing, my brother, I want us to get to the last topic.
Yeah.
What the hell is happening at Hare University? There's been the banning of buildings, which reports have approximated around 300 to 500 million rands. That's a lot of money. Some reports are talking about the students not wanting the SRC. That is an interim that has been imposed on them. But I think it's important that as we talk about Fort Hare, to also say that Fort Hare has a link to the other topics that we spoke about, because the political task team was also now investigating and arresting people at Fort Hare University, because a lot has happened with people that are being alleged to have actually hired Inkabi to go and attack people. So Fort Hare is also part of this. And for me, I can tell you for sure that it's not only Fort Hare. If there were other whistleblowers from all other institutions that would come out and actually speak out about what's happening in these other institutions, we might need another commission after another commission after another commission. But hopefully the commission that we have will show that a commission can bite. And if a commission can bite, the next time something happens and people come out and then they say, let's have a commission, it will be given credibility that it deserves. Because right now, commissions in the country do not have the credibility.
Yeah, sure.
You spoke highly of the Madlanga, you know, and I think you got me thinking that actually this could be a commission where something actually comes up. But let's go back to Fort Hare. What is happening in Fort Hare? What's the situation there?
Hey, you know, my brother, the story of Fort Hare is scary. And it's also quite painful because as an institution, Fort Hare is like a historic and iconic heritage site, if 100%. I can call it that. Because it's one of the first institutions of higher learning that were designed for African people. And we have many leaders who've went through the Mugabe, O.R. Tambo, Nelson Mandela, Robert Sobukwe, to name a few. So I think, as you've said, the story is about the SRC, but I don't entirely buy that story to say a building could be banned just because of SRC. But at the same time, I think the people who did that, they need to be, condemned. Ne? Yes, because what they've done is completely unacceptable. We cannot have a situation in 2025 where people are banning institutions of higher learning.
And the thing is, from what I know, the VC, Sakile Buhlungu, Prof. I know him to be a brilliant guy. Everything I've heard of him, everything I've read of him, and even the stories I'm hearing that he's trying to root out a very deep entrenched rot and corruption that's happening in the institution. Some are actually saying it's a sense of political interference in some way that actually wants to have him out of that institution because he's come in, he's interrogated all the processes that the university has been following. He's had some people fired. He's had some people even arrested. You see, so it's like it's an interference, almost like this extortion gangs that are happening, where it's like if you don't want to pay, then we have to take you out. And in this case, for him, it's you are disrupting our business. We have tenders in this place that we need to run. We need to enrich ourselves. And you've come here, you've stood in front of us, and we are going to find ways, even if it means we must sponsor violence in some way or form, so that we can be able to kick you out. I don't know if you think there's a relation between the situation in Fort Hare now, because it really doesn't make sense that the SRC being rejected is what led to the damages that can cause.
So to your point again, you must remember that for the longest of time, ever since the VC Sakile Buhlungu came to Fort Hare, there's been attempts to try and so his effort has been to try to stabilize the institution.
Yes.
But those who are against him, they are doing the opposite. They're trying to destabilize the institution. They've even went as far as attempting to kill him. And there's been several attempts to kill him up until they managed to kill the bodyguard. If you think about it,
he is possibly the Ntantla Mkhwanazi of that side. I think we are now appreciating anyone who comes out and say, this is the debt, this is what's happening at this place.
Definitely. And one thing I commend about him is him sticking to his guns.
Yeah.
Because if it was someone else by now, probably would have resigned. Because you can't have a situation whereby there are several death threats and attempts of killing you. and they manage to kill your bodyguard, and you still insist in being at the same place. So, it takes some real courage, for someone to stay in.
I think there are some people where their level of consciousness gets to a point where no amount of money can actually stand in front of them. No, to people like him and Ontiretse Phethlu, it's like, it's no longer about a salary. It's no longer about, I'm waking up early in the morning and I'm just going to go to work and get there, do some administration, and at the end of the month, I know that I'm getting paid. It's now about a serious concern that this institution that is such a heritage site is degrading as it is. It's now concern for someone like Mkhwanazi that the police force that is meant to protect South Africans is deteriorating as it is. And I think it's a serious calling that I wish a lot more people in government, in institutions. I mean, the lady was a whistleblower. I'm just forgetting her name now. I'm hoping Steph can check for us there from Tembisa Hospital.
Oh, yes, the Indian lady.
The Indian lady from Tembisa Hospital who was the whistleblower. I think her name deserves to be said. Yes. People like that who come out and say these are the situations, and they're not even protected.
To your point, I saw a few comments online on Facebook saying that Tembisa Hospital should actually be named after that lady.
Yeah.
Because
Steph gave the name for us.
The lady, she was working in the procurement department, in the finance. And she was the one who actually brought the story.
Yes.
She reported the story. So a couple of people, they would love for her to be appreciated at that level, whereby the hospital is actually named.
What's her name, Steph?
After her.
Babita Diokaran.
Yeah,
Babita Diokaran.
Yeah, that's the name.
You see, like people like that, like their names should be, and there are many others who've been actually been let down when they've come out, such that, the Zondo Commission had situations like that where you had people who were whistleblowers, and then you find that they've been let down by the state. But I think we should conclude, my brother. Thank you so much. You've become a regular voice on this platform, and we hope that we continue to build as we go. My fellow compatriots, it's a wrap. If it's big, if it's bold, if it's hidden underneath the headlines, on this platform, we take it, we dismantle it, we strip it apart, we break it down, we turn it into a conversation. So stay woke, stay sharp, and keep questioning everything. If you haven't done so, follow us on our social media platforms that are linked down below. Subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that whenever we release our episodes, you can be able to get notifications. Done.